All right, sports fans, it is another Friday, and it's another Q&A with Alan and Marshall. I'm Marshall Atkinson,
I'm Alan Howe with Easy Way.
and we've got some other fella here. Who is this, Alan?
Well, Marshall, I am excited on this one. This show was, my idea. So let me introduce Paul Zignone, my friend Paul Zignone from Vastec International. Vastec is out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. They're one of the oldest manufacturers of screen print and auxiliary equipment. So, Paul, welcome to Q&A with Alan and Marshall.
I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So what's been going on in Pennsylvania world?
Other than being hot right now and humid, it's nice to be in the building, making new stuff, selling, marketing, getting ready for big show of the year coming up. They're Printing United in Vegas, so we're getting excited for this.
Is that one of the biggest shows for you guys still?
As far as in the States, yeah, I mean, FESPA is going to be our biggest show when we do that. But yeah, as far as in the US, that'll be our biggest.
Okay. Bigger than Impressions.
Oh yeah. That's usually bigger. I mean, kind of a Long Beach Impressions and AC are right up there, but it's hard to beat Printing United.
Okay, great.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
So do you write a lot of business at that show?
We do. It's hard because one year it'll be great. It'll be a lot of stuff at the show. The next year it might be not as much at the show, but for the month afterwards, we're slammed with orders. So it I think depends on if people are ready to buy at the moment versus taking the quotes home and getting their funding aligned.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And do you find where the show is? You know, it's in Texas and it's in Atlanta. It's in Vegas. Do you have a better show? I like it in Vegas more than other cities, right?
Vegas tends to do well because it's a destination for people. They'll bring their family. They'll go on vacation. Atlanta, we didn't see as much of that last year.
Right.
But I think everybody's looking for an excuse to take a little side vacation and throw it on the business and go out to Vegas for a few days.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. So that's cool. So, hey, before we get going, we want to say hi to some folks and just remind everyone that this is a Q&A show. So Paul's here. If you've got questions about their products or anything that we talk about, we really need you to add that comment, right? That's going to be important. And then also we would love it if you would share that you're watching the show, just because, that's just a really awesome thing to do. But we really appreciate you. Don't forget to say hi, sign in, where are you watching from, all of that stuff, because we always like to know that, right? So especially if you're watching from a different country, because a lot of people do that. So
yeah, and
excuse me.
While we are live right now, we know most of our viewers are watching the replay. So feel free still to put a chat in, email us, let us know.
Yeah, cool. All right, so let's say hi to some people. So Cindy's watching from Texas. Good seeing you. And Charles is here. Looking forward to today's show. That's great.
New Mexico. Yeah.
Richard's here. Hey, buddy. And Ray. I always say Jesse, but it's Ray, right? Great Screenlings, right? So
Ray is probably in Oklahoma at his office / Starbucks.
Office/Starbucks.
Oh, that's
Oh, look, Kim's here. Hey, Kim. All right, that's great.
Hey, Kim. I know Kim.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. All right, so let's kick things off with just a basic thing, I think, and maybe there's people who haven't heard of Vastex, right? So let's get into really the history of your company, what's going on, and why should anybody care, Paul?
All right. Well, Vastex, we've been around for quite some time. Started in 1960. Our owner now, his father and mother started the company in 1960 as just a way of printing shirts, a better way of printing shirts. It was really in the 60s, nobody was printing on T-shirts. T-shirts
Right.
were meant to be undershirts. You didn't see a graphic on them. It was really bowling shirts that got Vastex started.
In Florida.
Reason was bowling shirts. They wanted team name on the back. The pleats on the back of the bowling shirt made it very difficult to print. So he created a four-way stretch system that would basically stretch the pleats so they can print across the back of the shirt. That is one of the older original patents that Vastex has. One of the biggest patents that we have that is really still used today is the dual rotary press. So every single manual screen printing press you see with the rotating print heads and rotating stations, that is an original Vastex patent. So we like to say we've been doing that longer than anybody because we kind of invented it.
You know, and it was awesome when you hear the history. I know I'm one of the few people in the industry. I have met Michael Sr. before. It was so great. It had to be 10 years ago or so. He was at a show, and I was so young when I met him, but it was great meeting an icon. But talking to his son Mark, that you know, all the big boys of that time, the Advances, the Precisions, everybody else was paying royalties on all their manual presses to Vastex.
Yep.
Really?
Oh yeah.
They still do that?
That has run up since then.
Yeah.
I forget what the time period is on the patents, but I think that was in 1964, 65 is when they patented that.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the year I was born. 64.
Yeah. So you know, that's always interesting,
Mhm.
you know, when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean we're still using a lot of those designs today. I mean, obviously made them much better over the years.
Oh yeah.
But that our tracking system on the conveyor dryers, the air circulation systems, those are all I think the small electric conveyor dryers, those are all Vastex inventions.
They were the first, what I call a compact small dryer I ever saw. And I'm like, there is no way that will cure a shirt.
Yep. We still get that.
Yeah. You know, it's incredible. And I love the four-way stretch because that was still called, sometimes it's called a jack clamp, but it is the precursor to a jacket hold on.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, no, there was kind of a manual one-handed squeegee in there too that they had years and years ago. That was really cool. I've seen it once. Never got to use one though.
Would that be like for poster printing?
I think it was for poster printing, for screen printing.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's been some really cool
one-man squeegee.
Yeah, it's some cool innovations over the years. I mean, and now it's Mark, the son. He bought Vastex in 1999, and first thing he did was redesign the press, take that manual press that we had, and came up with the V2000 HD, and that's been our premium press for all these years, 25-year warranty precision press.
It is one of the top ones out there.
And have you guys have morphed into some newer ideas with what's going on in the industry also, right?
Oh, obviously. I mean, you have to continue to evolve as direct-to-garment came out. Now direct-to-film is the hot ticket. And you have to evolve with that. And our dryers, we were one of the first companies to make conveyor dryers for curing direct-to-garment inks, which in the beginning, that was everybody was a heat press. So we evolved with that. Now we're really trying to get more into the direct to film. Big thing is the powder shaker that we came out with. So, and I think you can actually see it when you're on the wide screen. You can see a powder shaker behind me. Single sheets only. So we're not doing a roll to roll powder, but single sheets. Simple operation, but the big thing we wanted with it was safety. That's really what we had in mind.
Yep.
A lot of people knew that powder had to stay contained. You don't want it floating around the shop. So it contains it. We have an exhaust in the back to keep that powder inside the unit while you're applying it and shaking it. I know Kim knows the shaker very well, and she loves it. I see that popping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
But then we have the small conveyor dryer underneath it. So if you want a nice compact system, conveyor dryer underneath, so you can shake the films, put the powder on them, run them right through the dryer, and have something ready to heat press.
Great. And so we got some more people jumping in. Just want to acknowledge them real quick. So Dean's here. Happy Friday. Chris is here from Saskatchewan. Good seeing you, buddy.
Yeah.
Peter's here. Good seeing you. Of course, we have to talk about the Chiefs always with Peter. And Ray says he's at his home in the foreign land of Oklahoma. And Brian says hello, Paul.
Hello.
Dean. And Hurley says, great to see Vastex on your show. All-time favorite equipment in my shop. Vastex International for life.
And I know he does some really good stuff there.
We've had him on the show before.
Joe's here from Georgia. Good seeing you, Joe. And Eric's here. Hello, gentlemen. Good seeing you, Eric. Right. So, all right. What are you guys innovating on right now? What's it like? You're going to be doing shows like we've got printing and ID and stuff we were talking about before the show started. Like, what are you? What's your newest thing that you guys are doing?
A lot of our newest designs and thoughts really do revolve around screen printing still, but the direct to film. We have new exhausts that we're putting on our dryers that have again kept the safety in mind. We know that when the fumes come off of your direct to film, when you're running through the dryer, you have the glycol, you have stuff that we really don't want to breathe in.
Absolutely.
So our smaller dryers, even up to our bigger dryers, we are putting kind of a glycol catcher that catches that glycol as the fumes are coming off, and it'll have a drip tray, so it removes it from the air. Otherwise, you have it going up your exhaust stack, collecting and dripping back down. So we want to capture that before it goes out to make it safer and just cleaner when you are using it.
Yeah, something from a safety thing, Paul, and I didn't think about it because we don't in the textile field for screen printing worry about it as much with plastisol.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're moving into that VOC area being exhausted out.
Yep.
And that becomes an issue. So yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really focusing on the safety right now.
That's excellent. I love that. Right.
Right.
By the way, Frank's here. Good seeing you, Frank. And congratulations, by the way, on your new position with Stalls. He just recently got a new job. So. Oh,
really? I didn't let us in on it. Right?
So, he left S&S Activewear, and he's now doing the forgot the name.
Frank, help us out.
Help us out, Frank. What the hell are you doing? The fulfillment engine, fulfill engine.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I was having a Friday moment here. And then Dean asked, why did Vastex never get into the auto market, or did they? What's up with that, Paul?
Yes and no.
So the simple question is, the scale of our business would have to go up so much even to do an automatic. And we would not be able to build that in the building we're in now, and we're in a newer building from what we had about 7-8 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So just the scale that we would have to grow to, the amount of engineers we have to hire, production, techs in the field to install them and to service them 24 hours a day. We wanted to focus on the manual side, but make it great, because we know there's a lot of fantastic manufacturers of automatic equipment out there.
Mm-hmm.
And to get into that world is just really not what we were looking to do.
So you're staying in your lane. That's good business.
Exactly. Like we like what we do, and we take a lot of pride in what we do. We don't want to diminish the quality of our dryers, our exposure units, our presses, because we want to throw all that manpower onto something completely new.
Right. And you guys partner with Rock, correct?
Yes, we do. We became a distributor of them. It was about 5 or 6 years ago, just so we can have something, because we have so many customers that do come to us, trust us, and ask, what would you recommend? And for years, we just gave our recommendations. I personally own a Rock, and this was before we became a distributor of them. So I think I'm an easy person to say. I chose it out of every press on the market. I had 2 choices that I really liked, and ended up going with Rock.
Okay. And you is interesting here that you sell for Vastex, but you have your own shop also, right?
Correct.
And how does that work? That seems like kind of a time like that seems a little crazy to people because they're running their shop, let alone not trying to sell somebody else's stuff, right?
Yep.
So how does that work?
It's interesting. It's a time commitment on both sides. But I was a customer of Aztecs before I was an employee. Same thing with Mark, our other sales guy, John, our other sales guy. Where there's three of us that actually started as employees, still print, but we work for Vastex now. But it's easy to sell a product that you believe in. I mean, since I had Vastex in my shop for about 15 years, my B2000 runs like the day I got it in 2009. My dryer, again, 2009, still operational today. The only thing I've done was actually expand it when I got the automatic to keep up with the production that I needed. But little things like that, I loved that I didn't have to buy a new dryer and I could add on to the one I already had to keep up. But I believe in the products, and it's easy for me to get tech support here because I see the guys every day. But I honestly, in 15 years, I've never needed tech support on this stuff, which is fantastic.
Well, I will say, as someone is a former dealer of Vastec, any service was super easy. I remember a large dryer I sold and went back to the customer, and there was a problem with the heating element, and Paul, I don't remember if I talked to you or Mark Kluel, and I just said, look, I'm sending you pictures. And it was like, yeah, we don't need them. We have the account up because we're sending new heating elements in. That quick? Yeah, okay.
And we take a lot of pride in the support that we do offer. And again, that's why we haven't wanted to get into the automatics, because we can support people better when they can kind of dedicate their time to that.
So one thing, Paul, I've heard, without naming any names, is that some of the bigger equipment companies have stopped making or selling the manual presses just because nobody seems to be buying them.
Yep.
Is that true with you guys? Are you still selling manual presses?
We're not taking any time away from the manual press manufacturing. I mean, we still sell them. We have everything from the entry level to our premium press and a couple in between. But we're obviously, things are changing, but we're still seeing customers that they maybe get into direct to film just because it's super easy, it's inexpensive, and it doesn't take up much space. Absolutely. And they're realizing that their first order, that's 500 pieces of black ink on a white shirt, it's cost prohibitive to be competitive when your ink costs so much, and the film and the powder. So I don't know, $20 worth of ink in a few hours of time, you can knock that out on screen printing. So we're seeing them get into screen printing from there to complement DTG and DTF.
So as part of your education series, right, are you guys helping them understand this is entry level, which is called phase 1?
Yep.
Here's what phase 2 might look like for you when you get to this level. This is what you might need. Are you educating these guys? Because I know you guys have an education track also.
Yep. Yeah, we do focus a lot on training as well. We have up to a 5-day training course that we do here in Bethlehem that is usually filled every time we do it, every about 6 weeks. We max it at 12 people just so it is a lot of hands-on, a lot of personal, kind of that one-on-one. We can't do that with 30 people in the class.
Yeah.
But we're starting to see a lot of that, and we're helping them build from that small, I call it the Cricut. The people that were on a vinyl cutter and using a Cricut at home and just making a couple shirts for their kids' baseball team. And they're turning these into businesses and growing from there.
Yep.
All these different processes work so well together.
Mm-hmm. Good. By the way, Frank says that he's similar to his role at S&S. He's going to be concentrating on helping contract decorators with stalls, products, and services. Fulfill Engine being one of those. Thanks, guys.
Right. Sounds good. Congratulations, Frank.
Yeah, Kim says congrats. So, all right. Well, cool. We're next topic here, I think, is kind of a lead in here. It's just something's going on in the industry, Paul. What is it?
Well, we've alluded to it and talked about it a little bit already, but yeah.
There's a lot going on in the industry. I mean, are you talking about more like people moving to DTF or just people worried or cautious or? Everything.
I think yes, all
Yes,
of it.
of everything.
Yes.
The one thing that we've seen lately is over the past year and a half, they're not upgrading as quickly as they used to. They're holding on to their money a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think there's people that are nervous. Obviously, if you were leasing equipment before, your rates are higher than they were before. I know that makes a lot of people nervous when they're looking at a few extra $100 a month versus what they were leasing old equipment on. My big thing when we're talking about the prices are high, but if it makes you money, think about those monthly payments. Instead of a $50,000 one-time payment, you're paying $1,200-$1,300 a month. It doesn't take much if you're running your business to make that money back, especially if it's something that makes you more productive, more profitable. Alan, I know I mentioned Easy Way a lot. People say I want to lease a auto reclaim system.
And that's why
Is it
you're on the
worth?
show. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not getting paid for this. I love Easy Way products myself, but they ask, why should I get an auto reclaim? It's X amount of dollars a month on a lease. Are you pulling a guy out of your screen room and now you're putting him on press somewhere that they can make money? We make money on press. We don't make money reclaiming screens,
100%.
prepping. So I always try to tell people, if you're looking for an automatic, you're going from 100 shirts an hour to 500-600 shirts an hour. How many shirts per month does it take that you're doing in excess to make the money back you're paying on that lease?
Yep.
So it's thinking kind of that big picture, long term. That when you get nervous, you start to steer away from that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And there's a lot of factors, I mean, going on in the world.
Yeah.
And, no matter what anybody on television or political parties say, fact of the matter is, at our kitchen table, we are, in our own homes, we're going, okay, we're a little more cautious. We're a lot more less spend. So,
Yeah.
But you are right. There is still opportunity out there to be making money.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the other thing, is you have to make sure, and Marshall, you talk about this all the time, we do on the show, you have to make sure you are profitable with what you're doing. And that can be updating your processes or your pricing, and it still is amazing of how many people do not know what their costs are or what their profitability is.
Well, I think a lot of times some people get sucked into servicing clients that just are not profitable.
Yep.
And they feel like they're in this, it's a catch-22 because we got all this work, but we're not making any money. What happens if they go away, right? And that's something that I deal with a lot as a business coach. It is like, well, you have to you don't cut them completely off, but you need to start going after people that will pay you more, people that will pay you what you're worth. And then understand that people's buying habits and how they do things have changed many different ways, right? And so if you're trying to operate the same way you've always operated, you could be in trouble and not really realize it until it's too late. And we see this, right? And you see this all the time. And so it's really horrible and sad when it happens, right? And I heard about a shop in California that just closed because they were servicing the wrong customers, right? And not getting the money that they should be making, and now they're out of business, right? So it's like we should really just focus on understanding our math, understanding the numbers, understanding the profit, and if our current customers are not appreciating the value that we're bringing, we have to serve other people that do. It's nothing against those people. It's about finding people that are going to pay you what you're worth. Yep. But you have to go out and get it, right? You can't, as Mark Kudre says, you can't be an oyster at the bottom of the ocean. You got to be out hunting like a barracuda, right? And we need to find customers that appreciate what we do and be proactive about it and not reactive, right? So, and I think our industry is super disrupted right now with print on demand, with DTF, with just like stuff about discretionary spending and all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't mean that they're not buying. It just they might not be buying from you, or maybe another type of customer you should be going after because they are buying, right? That's kind of the thing.
And are they charging enough? I remember when DTG came out, you had, even in just CMYK, you had a huge palette of colors where you could do one shirt to a small amount, and people are going, yeah, but I have to charge like $20 a shirt. You better be. It's a premium product.
Yeah, and why aren't you charging $20?
Yeah, exactly.
Like here's the thing that's always killed me, right? If you go to any store, right? What's that T-shirt sell for? It sells for $25 or $35 or whatever, and it's one of 20,000 that they made because they're in all the stores across the country, right? And people will pay $25 or $35 for that shirt, but I want some completely custom. Nobody else has ever seen it before. You're going to do the artwork for me, and I'm not going to pay more than $12, right? Does that sound ridiculous to you? Because it does to me, right? And it's like, it's completely custom. It should. How come you're not giving me $100 for that, right? So it's, it's just how we think about things, and I think we have. I don't know why this industry has talked itself down into we're not worth anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a race to the bottom, and I think we need to avoid that and know your value and know what your time, what your work is worth. And,
right.
And you'll go to a concert and spend $50 on a T-shirt, but yeah, like you said, you won't spend more than $12 on a T-shirt that's a walking billboard to everybody they give it to. Like everybody that wears that shirt is a walking billboard for your landscaping business if you give them a shirt.
Yeah, right.
And the thing about concerts is that you're not buying a T-shirt when you're there. You're buying the experience.
Yeah.
Of there. So I think the big thing that I talk about is being in the industry. It galls me to pay $45 at a concert for a shirt. So when I was at the Depeche Mode concert, now this was a while ago, I'm there with some friends. They go, all right, Alan, what's the cost of that shirt there? They're asking like $45. They go, what did that cost to print? I go, probably $4. And they go, are you getting one? I go, absolutely not. I am not doing that. Now, I did buy, because of the experience, the $26 coffee mug.
Yeah.
Same difference.
The markup on a coffee mug?
Way more than a shirt. So I am guilty.
I'm not going to buy the T-shirt because I know what that costs, but I'm going to spend a lot of money.
I don't know sublimation as well, but I did do that because you are buying the experience, and that experience, because Depeche Mode had not been in the country in years.
It's a souvenir. You're taking a souvenir with you.
I still have the cup. I've actually drank coffee on it out of the show now. It's before, but it just is. There is a value to it.
Yeah.
What did Greg Kitson always say? Nobody needs another T-shirt. That's the experience. And I love the thing. He goes, do you want someone to wear this when they're washing the car or going out to eat?
Yeah. Exactly. Hey, we got some great comments. Let's get some.
Yep.
So Chris says, I had some issues with my dry exhaust fan from day one. Vastec International went above and beyond and made me a one-piece fan blade for my exhaust fan because the three-piece blade kept exploding. Can't say enough for great things about attention to detail and customer service.
And we just lost Marshall. So let me welcome to live. So it says, can't say enough about great things about attention to detail and customer service. And that is awesome. That's everything that Vastec does. They listen to their customer. Heather's here, and she says, morning, guys. Hi, Heather from Cave City, Kentucky. We got Jesse here. I finished your thought, Marshall. Welcome back to the show.
Why'd you kick me out, Alan?
Well, because I got tired of looking at you, and you over, as your wife says, you talk over me all the time. Except last week when I talked over you. So Ray said, if a client's not profitable, it's that the fault of the type of client or that the fault of the printer's equipment mix and methodology. Are there enough of these customers to upgrade?
That's a great statement.
Yep. Heather says she loves her Vastec dryer and coder. See, and that coder, let's talk about it. Sure. Simple idea. Tell me about Vastec's coder and stands and stuff.
Sure. We have a manual screen coder where it's a spring-loaded clamp system that you put the screen on the wall and it holds it in place.
Yep.
Nothing fancy, but it gets you off the floor or the one-handed coding, especially for people that are just getting started. Then we have our semi-automatic system because there was nothing in between I don't know, putting a couple 2x on the wall to hold your screen and a $20,000 fully automatic screen
Right.
coder. So we needed something in between that was a fraction of the price. So that's where we came out with our C1000, which is our semi-automatic screen coder. All you have to do is hold the squeegee or the scoop coder, put pressure, foot pedal goes up and down. The big question we have is, I could do it faster by hand. Like, it's not about speed, it's about consistency.
Absolutely.
And anybody that has a shop, it seems like when you have a new employee in the shop, where do you put them? They throw them in the screen room, which is so important because we're screen makers before we can be screen printers.
Yep.
And it's for those shops that I can code a screen. Somebody that's never coded a screen can do the same thing, and it keeps it a lot more consistent. Helps them get to that point where they're getting a nice even coat of emulsion on the screen. So is it faster? No, but is it more consistent and better quality? Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, great. And this is the thing about Vastec that, you have your own engineer department and you're always thinking of the upgrades and stuff.
Yep.
So go ahead.
Try and find that hole in the market and fill it with something new.
Yeah. Go ahead, Marshall. You can take over the control.
Yeah. So Heather says we love our Vastec dry encoder. Eric says every damn day.
He's talking about customers not knowing pricing and stuff. Yeah.
Eric Campbell. Hey, Eric. Glad
Hey,
you're
Eric,
here. You have to be able to describe the benefits and differentiators, not always for the client. Some people just need to convince themselves.
True.
Good thing there. And then Dean says Depeche Mode, Alan, never let me down again. And
when I went to that concert, it was in Florida. I was flying down. I had some friends going, "Are you sure it's Depeche Mode and not their grandkids?" Like, I don't need to hear this.
Yeah. And Heather says helps us vertical challenged people. You're not short.
Well, and I love about the coder because someone on coding, should never coat one-handed. You need to hold it with two hands.
Yeah.
For better coats. So yeah.
Yeah. I know when we were developing it, I coded a screen with, and then we had our engineer code a screen who had never coded a screen in his life, and took it to Mark, the owner, and said, "Who did what? I've done thousands and thousands of screens."
Yeah.
Couldn't tell the difference between the two of us. And that's what it did. It made us equals in the screen room.
Yeah. The first time I saw it at the show, the first time I ever tried one, I was at actually Greg Kitson's at Mind's Eye Graphics.
Yeah, Kitson loves his.
Yeah, and it was incredible. I'm like, okay, even I can code a screen, which I coded hundreds of them working for emulsion manufacturers and stuff. But yeah.
So Frank says his first real manual was a Vastec. Made the decision at an ISS show because the sales guy was sitting on the pallet showing how sturdy their printer was. Also, the metal pallets with the rubber coating saved me a few times from inattentive operators burning the building down, leaving the flash over it.
Sitting on the pallets. I think I had done that when I was.
You've done that before.
I think it was me and Mark Kluel and Doug Reiger were all on one, like on there and spinning it around. So
yeah, there was a few pounds on the pallet, and
it was.
it held up.
Gotta love all steel.
Yep.
And I love this statement. Dean says consistency and easy to use is so valuable. We build and sell to the same parameters. Might I add, it's also way easier to train and try an employee on. Speed isn't everything. I love that.
Speed is usually bad.
If you do it really quickly but wrong,
you waste more time if you have to redo it because you did something wrong.
Yeah. Alan, I just coded some 12-inch screens. I tried so hard to use both hands, like he said, failed.
I hate Ray Greenwood.
Yeah. Great press. Can't say enough about it. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Absolutely. So where are we? So we wanted to talk about meeting needs of customers.
Yep.
So, what are your thoughts on that, Paul? Like, you guys are very customer service and customer centric. So, talk about that a little bit.
I think
Sure.
we just saw some great, responses from people on that too.
Yeah, and I think so much of it comes back to it's still a family-owned business. We haven't gotten too big where we have a board of directors making the decisions where everything's about profit. For us, it's still about the customer, the end user, and and obviously Mark, who owns it now, his father and mother started the business,
Yep.
and Mark's son, and he was an engineer here for a while, and daughter-in-law was here, so it's gone through 3 generations that have worked here, and Mark's still here every day. Cindy, his wife, is here a lot, and we feel like we're all family. When we go to trade shows, we feel like we're the kids. We're part of the family, and that's why we extend that courtesy, that kindness to our customers, because it really is still a big family. Anybody that's using Vastex is part of this big extended family.
And I will say this about Mark Fastiolone and Cindy: they have treated me like gold always. I've been a dealer for them, just friends in the industry, and I remember there were some things I was thinking of, during COVID, of some things I used to do all the time, and I was being asked to do it, and I'm going, I want to say no, but I go, man, is this a career killer? And you seek advice from people. And I called Mark Fastiolone, and he says, Alan, you are 100% right. You have to look out for you. And if it's not financially feasible, he goes, and basically it was do I pull out of a show that I was going out just to speak at? And I did. And I had never, ever pulled out of a show. I was one of those guys that I would speak at, went down to Orlando during hurricanes and stuff, and did my spot, and when they changed and needed other people, and so it was killing me. But Mark Fastiolone was one that really just, you got to find out some people that know more and can see it from different eyes. And I can see that family thing. They, I've been out to dinner with all of them and your crew, and they are incredible people.
Yeah. It's hard to. I never wanted to work for somebody. That's why I started the business, and the fact that I've been here for 12 years. If you know me, I don't sit still for long, and I need to be my own boss. But 12 years here, and I still come in every day because I love the product. I love the people that we deal with, because we're helping people create a lifestyle for themselves, to be their own boss. And especially all the training classes, every single person that comes through the training class, I have a big hand in getting them started, and to see them grow and expand and start from nothing, and a year later they're moving into a huge building, buying an automatic, buying this and that. It's a fantastic thing to see. I wish I had a little bit. They should give me a cut on a little bit of that when they're really doing well. But I'm thrilled to see people succeed because we were able to help them.
Well, that's how you get referrals, right? How'd you get your start? I did this, right?
Yep. Yeah, and so many people come to our class because somebody else told them to. Like, oh, if you're going to start screen printing, go to the Vastex class. I've been doing it for a few years, but Doug before me for 20 years was teaching the class, and I learned from him. And so much of what I learned was from him and other people. And Alan, when I have a question for you, you're glad to help. There's so many people in this industry that are so willing to help. And the big thing is you don't stop learning. You continue to grow, continue to educate yourself.
Right.
Absolutely. So meeting the needs, one of the things is that, you guys are starting to make equipment for DTF on the shaker and stuff. Now you've just partnered with somebody that's now public, the DTF, and tell us about that a little bit.
Roland came to us when they came out with their new DTF printer. It prints to a roll, but it's not the all-in-one system where it goes into the shaker and the heater. So they have a cutter, they cut it into sheets, and they needed a powder shaker. They came to us and talked to us about it because big thing is I think we're still the only shaker that's American made. I'm not sure, but they wanted something that was quality to give their customers a quality product. And we had this all-in-one system that you can kind of see it behind me a little bit.
There.
There we go. So that's an all-in-one system where we have the shaker on the top, conveyor dryer on the bottom with a powered exhaust to help remove those fumes, remove that glycol that I was talking about. But they wanted something so they can have a customer get an all-in-one system, their printer, and then everything else they need is right there aside from the heat press. And it's a small footprint that runs off of a standard household outlet. So 15 amp, 110, 120 outlet. That's what they wanted. And they loved the product when they saw it at the shows. So we're really excited that they're putting this package together for their customers.
And that's great. That's a great partnership.
Yep.
I love that.
We work with Epson, Brother, Polyprint. We don't want to kind of pigeonhole ourselves into one manufacturer. So that's why we don't really recommend a certain one, because they all make great printers, and we do love them all.
Right. Well, how long has that partnership been?
It just started. So we began shipping the combos to them, I think a few months back is when we finally finalized everything and started shipping them those printers. But yeah, they can do this full complete solution now. We're really excited about it.
Cool. Hey, by the way, look, Jesse's here. Good to see you.
Hey, Jess.
Great. That's fantastic. So we got our last topic today is all about training and education. So why don't you walk everybody through? You kind of alluded to it earlier about your classes. Give us what's going on with that. How do you sign up? What's the frequency? All that stuff. What do you want?
Easy to sign up, vastex.com. If you go to the training section, we do have the list of dates. We just had one last week. We finished up. We have another one coming up end of September after the Printing United show. So about every 6 weeks we do classes. But there's a lot of hands-on combined with sitting at a table, lecture style training, because there's so much information. There's different options available, but we do a full 5 days. You can do 1 day through 5 days. First 2 days are going to be your artwork portion. John, who's our sales manager here, also a printer, also a Vastex customer, he does the artwork portion. So day one is super basic, how to vectorize or how to use Illustrator. So it's basically for people that have never used Illustrator before, so they can get started with that, learn how to use the pen tool, set up your artwork, simple designs. Day two is going to get a little bit more in depth into your artwork and how to do some separations, choke, trap, the vector, image trace, a lot of things like that, where people are just nervous about the artwork side of things. After that, we get into the 3-day portion of the class, which has been a staple here for decades. The 3-day portion is how to screen print. If you've never screen printed before, never touched a squeegee in your life, that's what you're learning. You're leaving here knowing how to print. We'll normally do about 6 designs in the class, but we'll do 4-color process, simulated process, single color, print, flash print. We do a discharge print. So we like to have a variety of what you'll see in a normal shop. Mm-hmm. And it's a great class. The people that come are fantastic. Half the times, for me, the students make the class, and it's so much more fun when they're engaging and they're having a good time. I'd love to be up doing hands-on the entire 3 days, but we still need to teach, and we have so much education to do. We want them to be able to leave, and when they do leave, being able to troubleshoot, being able to take what they learned and be successful. At the end of the day, we're still their resource, so they can still call us a year down the line and say, I don't remember how we burned this screen. We're always glad to help you. So we become your resource, really, as long as you're in the industry. I've
sent clients, I know one that is just in my backyard out of Lapeer, Michigan. Man, she was an embroidery. She bought an old shop, and it was a disaster. And, I just don't have the time to stay all day there in the position I'm in. She knew my family, her nephews and my nephew were like best friends. So I kind of felt obligated to help them out. Told her, make the investment, go to Vastec. and Daleen still says it was the best thing she ever did.
No, yeah.
And then, she ended up buying equipment later on, just upgrading when the time comes. But that happens a lot, I think, as people just go, okay, I just need to up my game a little bit.
Yep. I use myself as an example a lot just because when I started, I was frustrated because 20 years ago, there wasn't a ton on YouTube as far as compared to what there is now. So it was a lot of self-taught and watching like the old Ryonet videos. And
Right.
I got a press that came with a VHS tape on how to screen print. That was my first multicolor press. But
how Jay Bissell got on the industry was selling for printer.
Yeah, I knew that.
It was frustrating because I made so many mistakes. I could barely do one color jobs. I took the class when Doug was teaching it, and within 3 days, I was confident because we always teach proven methods. If you do this, there's a 99% chance you're not remaking screens or pinholes or washing out the ink. So it changed my business. Those 3 days made me so much more confident. And we have a lot of customers or students that come that have been printing for years, and they learn more in those 3 days that can change things for their own business. And it really is for everybody.
Are you also talking about how to sell, how to price to make a profit, all that stuff too?
We do go into it. We do go into some of the business side of things, how to kind of build your business to succeed, what you can do, what you shouldn't do. It's hard to get too much into you should charge this much because obviously every location's different. Whether you're in Texas, Manhattan, LA, you need to price accordingly for your location. But we try to help you get that jump start on how to make sure you're charging enough money.
You have also had other industry experts and at times doing specialty stuff. Here's a discharge class. Here's this class. Here's that class. So you're not just looking at your intro stuff also.
Yep. Yeah. We're working on putting some workshops together for the fall for 1 day, multi-day, more advanced methods versus just the how to screen print.
Sure. Yeah.
Good. And so the folks that sign up, they come from really everywhere, right?
Oh, yeah. It's not just local. We have all over the country. I think we had 5 or 6 different states last week at this last class. But I mean, we've had South America, Caribbean islands. We've had Europe, Africa. We had I had one customer from, I forget where it is, but I mean, they're taking 20-hour flights to get to this class. It makes us feel good. It's a little bit more pressure on me because I need to make this worth it for you to come and listen to me for 3 days. But yeah, they come from all over the place.
20-hour flights that put you in Southeast Asia, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Yep.
Things like that, man. That's a distance. Australia.
Oh, it is. It definitely is.
Paul, what does the class cost?
The classes, and I had that written down, and I should know this, but I forgot. Let me look this up for you so I can give you exact numbers.
I know, like for people that are, when I was selling equipment, especially people wanting to get into screen printing, and we're talking new printers wanting to, beginners buying that. I struggled in my career with startups, we would call, because it's such an investment to do it right. It was nice as a Vastec dealer. I would say, look, I'll be happy to sell you stuff, but I'm going to do this, man. I want you to go look at this class and take this class. Here's the equipment I think you should need. But if you sign up for their class, take it. And then there's usually, they'll start discounting the equipment off that price, which was nice. It made it so great on startups because that just puts them way over the learning curve, where they're not that year learning curve, where you can come out of the gate and start being profitable.
And we also want to make sure you want to do this, because we have people that take the class, and I say, before you spend 20 grand on equipment, take the class. Make sure this is something you want to pursue instead of the other way around. And we've had people that they screen print and they're like, you know what, this just isn't for me after the 3 days in the class. They're like, I'm going to keep outsourcing it. But then you have others that obviously go in a different direction.
Yeah, because everybody thinks they have a great idea. I can do this at home and stuff, and I would say that too. Going, I'd rather you go spend $300 a person or $400 or $500, what it is, and the time to go there, and then spend, 20,000 in a year later going, I hate this equipment, I hate Alan Howe, I hate this industry, because that's what happens.
Yeah,
and then
it's not for everybody.
And then there's used equipment back out on the market, which helps nobody.
Yep.
So,
and if you can kind of raise the quality of everybody printing across the board, it makes all of our prices go up, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But let me give you the prices.
What did you say as we were talking?
What's that,
Marshall?
I don't remember.
Oh, you said something. It was about used equipment and stuff.
Oh yeah. So yeah, unless you're a used equipment dealer, right?
Well, yeah, exactly.
They do well.
The problem with that used equipment, it's usually not people upgrading.
Yeah.
So you have pricing?
Yep, I have the prices. So the day one, the basics of Adobe Illustrator, that is $150. Day two is vector art for beginners. That is $150 per person. We have our 3-day portion, which is day 3, 4, and 5. That is the hands-on A to Z screen printing. That's $550 per person. And when you do multiples, we do have discounts if you have multiple people in the class from the same company.
Yep.
If you do, let's see, 4-day is the 3-day with day 2 of it gets difficult. It's easy to see online, but then we can do the 4-day class is $650 and then $750 for the entire 5 days of training. We recently added, which I love, a half-day portion. When we do the 3-day A to Z portion of the class, the first half of the day is basically going through the entire process. So you see every step of the process.
Mm-hmm.
One, you get to see it before we start talking about it and showing it to you and going into detail, but so you understand it more.
Mm-hmm.
But we also offer that as a half-day course for $100, where you're watching the entire process. At the end of the morning, you print your first shirt. So that's a really good way, especially if you're not far away. Come in for $100, see the process, and see if you want to take it on to the next level too.
You ever take that on the road? And so instead of coming to you might do it in different cities?
We do. We have a couple. We're talking to some of our distributors to do classes in their locations, which would be nice. But we also do on-site training. If you have a full shop that needs to be trained, we can come out and do on-site training, and basically you dictate what you're learning. We'll come help you set up your shop if you wanted to put equipment together, or just, I'll tell you 9 times out of 10, when we do the on-site training, what's the biggest thing is making screens.
Yep.
With an exposure calculator in about 30 minutes, we fix 90% of those screen making issues just by being there. But a lot of I've done quite a few states in the past few years where I've gone and helped them kind of take their business to the next level, add halftones where they weren't doing before.
Right.
Printing techniques and screens are so huge to get right.
And I know, I don't know if you've done international. I know Doug has gone internationally when he was there doing it before. So,
And
I've been in the States for all my training so far.
Yeah.
You guys get into screen tension and EOM and squeegee durometer stuff and all that?
We talk about that. I mean, we don't go crazy in depth. It's the basics of it, so you know how to pick do you want a triple durometer? Do you want a 70, 90, 70, 70, 60? Like, we go into that. Obviously, we can't go into insane detail, but we talk about EOM, how to code a screen to get proper EOM, because that's another thing we see is the 1-in-1 sharp coders that just can't get any stencil thickness.
So the reason why I'm asking is before this show, I talked to a shop and they had a white print on a dark shirt and it looked like crap.
Yep.
It's like this is 3,200 shirts. We don't know how can we, and we're like, it's taking forever to print this job, blah, 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 blah. And I started asking questions and they didn't have the answers. And, so that's why I'm asking, is because it's just the foundational aspect
Yeah.
of how to get a good print is right there in the screen room. And I think a lot of people just sidestep that whole thing. And for this shop, right, it's owned by a person who has vast embroidery experience, and she's got a screen printer who's got 20 years experience of doing things his way. Right?
Wrong.
You see that a lot.
And so that's the issue. And she's like, I don't understand what's going on here. Help me out. And then I just start asking questions like, I don't know any of this stuff. I'm like, well, this is why you need to know, right? And so I think it's so important. The foundational aspect of this industry cannot be stressed enough. And even if you've got years and years of experience, it's like, if you're not doing it right, you're just not doing it right. It's not like it's a secret. It's not like the hidden thing that nobody knows. You know?
Even if
there's a lot of things you can do wrong and still get a product out of it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You can make a screen and there's no stencil thickness, and you can get a serviceable print out of it. But I have a lot of people that come to the class that they can't pressure wash their screen when they're developing it. If you can't pressure wash your screen, there's something going on if you're using that misting function on your hose. We can fix that. It's a super simple fix.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't cost much more money. You're another 18 cents worth of emulsion on that screen, and you'll get a proper stencil.
Yeah. Well, it could be, like I said, the problems there could be EOM. It could be underexposure. It could be a thousand things. It's a chemical.
It could be their positives.
Yeah.
It could be
their process.
Yeah,
exactly. It could be if they're dry or not. And, it's funny because I still carry in my car, I still carry a tensiometer, I carry humidity gauge, I carry, an exposure 21 step. I'm still doing the stuff because it's all right there.
Oh, yeah.
Be done.
And it fixes problems so fast. And most people have never heard of an exposure calculator, have never done one.
Yep.
And the screen is our foundation. If we're trying to build a house on a crooked foundation, everything's going to be more difficult from there on. Like the screen, it's screen printing. We need our screens
to be
called
screen printing for a reason.
Yep, definitely.
Is it?
Yes. But the same principles of having that foundation and the process carries over to whether you're doing DTG, whether you're doing DTF. It's all about processes. It's all about printing well, printing quick. I always tell people, I said, what is your main job? What are you to make? They go, well, shirts. No, actually, it's not. Your main job is to make invoices, to make statements that, packing slips. And I said, it needs to be done quickly. The quicker you can do that with a great quality and you don't hear problems from the customer, that's your job.
Yep.
So, Paul, we got a couple minutes left, right? So tell us what's coming up for Vastex, where you're going to be, if they want to find more information, all that stuff.
Sure. Obviously, vastex.com. That's where you can find out about us. I see that on the bottom of the screen. Next stop is going to be Printing United in Vegas. We will be in the Impression Show in Fort Worth. Those are our kind of last two shows of the year before we start thinking about Impressions next year in Long Beach, which I always love that show. Gets us out of the cold in Pennsylvania for a week. But that's where we'll be coming up. We are working on a lot right now, a lot of new videos for the website, going through a lot of our products from the manual presses, dryers, exposure units, drying cabinets, trying to update a lot of that to give more information, how to assemble them, just overviews on what those products are. So that's me. That's on me to get a lot of that stuff done. But we're really pushing that a lot. And again, it's the education. It's you can't really talk about education enough and how important it is. But we're loving our training and we're looking to expand that as well.
Great. Well, cool. So any last words or thoughts from you, Mr. Allen?
Well, I think we need to talk about a couple things coming up. One, Shirt Lab Nashville. I'm excited about that, Marshall. I'm going to be down there.
Yeah, that's next week, and you can sign up still. It's shirtlablive.com. We'd love to see you there. But this is going to be a one full day of really intense Photoshop stuff, but we'll be talking about art or department workflow, also a little bit about Midjourney, but most of the day is going to be spent about how to do simulator process steps easily and quickly. So I'm going to be teaching, Dan Campbell's going to be teaching, and JJ McCampbell are going to be teaching. Between the three of us, we've got nearly 100 years of experience doing this stuff, so I think you're in good hands. All three of us do it differently, so it's there is no one way to do this stuff, and a lot of it's based on the type of art file. So what we're trying to show here is how to solve the problem, right? And so I think it's going to be eye-opening for lots of people. There's folks that are going to be there who kind of already know this stuff a little bit, but they don't know everything, and that's why they're showing up. It's going to be a really a lot of fun. We're having our Friday night hangout. It starts at 7. And of course, just as usual, we're doing our rock, paper, scissors tournament, and the winner gets a Hottronics Vision IQ hat press. That's going to be great. And then Saturday is all day, and it's going to be great. Lots of fun, lots of food, hanging out. This is going to be a smaller event, only about 35 people or so. But I think it's going to be really impactful. So it's going to be and huge shout out to all of our sponsors. Easy Way, of course, is one of them, and for just making this possible, because without our sponsors, we couldn't be putting on this education. So,
Marshall, I also want to give a little thing, people, for going to Printing United. Check out the education slots. There is also on the first day, and it's not listed that they're that, but the Academy, there are 6 seminars.
Yeah, I'm going to make a graphic, and that way we can share it. Maybe I'll do that this weekend, and we can start talking about it more.
So there are 6 classes that are done with the Academy. Marshall and I are part of that.
I'm on 2 of them.
Yeah, he's on 2 panels. I actually won't even be at the show. But man, from everything from digital to DTF to marketing to screen print and stuff, there are some great panels in education just done by Academy members. So you want to hear from the best in the industry,
right?
Check that out.
Yeah, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm also at Printing United at 11 in the apparel zone. We're going to have a big announcement for the inclusivity book that I've been helping write. With, Jed Seifert and other folks from Spectrum Designs. It's going to be really amazing kind of a thing. Big labor of love project. It's all about how we can get more disabled folks into the printing industry. And these are people who just need an opportunity, and they can totally kick butt for you. And these are people who have some sort of mental or physical handicap, who are 100% capable of doing a job. They just need the opportunity. And so that's going to be really impactful. And that's going to be at 11 o'clock. So,
last year at Printing United, the Academy was excited to present to Vastec the Joe Clark Innovation Award to Michael Vassilon Sr. Just for his contribution to the industry on the rotary press, the jacket hold down. So I was glad to be part of that last year. Of course, Michael Sr. Is in his 80s now, Paul.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
he was unable to come, but Mark took it on his behalf, and it was just real good. So,
great.
And we thank you for the nomination. I know they were really excited about that.
Yeah, I was glad to be part of that to help push that nomination through. So, yeah.
All right. Well, great. So we'll just wrap it up. Got 2 more comments, and then we're out of here, I think. Dean says, what a great show. Paul gets it. Honesty in education. It sets the customer up for success.
Yep.
And Chris says, great show, guys. Thank you, Paul, for all you do with Vastex. Continue doing those great Vastex things you do.
We appreciate it.
All righty. So any last words, guys?
Have a great weekend.
I've said enough.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Paul, for jumping
Thanks
on.
for having me.
Thank
you.
Don't go away, Paul. We'll find out. We'll talk afterwards.
Hey, by the way, no show next week because we're going to be in Nashville.
That's right. I'll be flying, and so there is no show. We'll put some pre-recorded thing up that was already done. We'll review one. We'll do this one again.
All right. See ya.